Hey, I'm Grace Nelson from One Less Stress Connect, a business growth agency and brand to which I run alongside with my business partner and bestie, Charlotte Barrett. In this video, I will be revealing the 10 biggest mistakes that you could possibly make when starting out your online business, but also on the flip side, of course, how to avoid them. So these are all mistakes that I've seen, and I've also experienced some of them when starting out in business. And of course, my role here is to help you to avoid them as best as I can. So let's get going with the biggest mistake number one, and that is failing to plan. My gosh, you probably heard the quote, fail to plan and plan to fail. And boy, is that true. And Charlotte and I know that all too well. Because sometimes you're just onto such a good thing, but you don't really have a plan, a steady plan that's actually going to take your business from one point to the next point. It's your clear roadmap for action. And if you don't have a robust action plan or strategy in place, then the chances are, I'm afraid, that it's likely that you're not going to do as well. You need to have that clarity and direction. So you need to spend time actually mapping out what your roadmap looks like. What are all the assets in your business in terms of the products or services, and what your customer journey looks like from the very point that they're cold to how you want to be warming them up on every stage of the customer journey till they actually become a hot lead, and that's when they will pull out their purse or wallet from you and buy from you. Okay, so that's the biggest mistake number one. Biggest mistake number two is not taking action. There is no such thing as an overnight success in the entrepreneurial world. So just because you've done a bout of action one day does not mean that the next day that you wake up that you're going to be sitting on a 7-figure business, you're going to be a millionaire, and everything's just going to be all hunky-dory. Business, unfortunately, does not work like that. So one thing that Charlotte and I are very, very big on is consistency of action, because we truly believe in the compound effect. Those simple daily steps or actions taken will start to compound, and then you'll start to see the results in your business later down the line. Now, it might not be the next day, but if you keep up with that momentum, making sure that you're committed to taking some sort of action in your business and showing up and doing something, whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, you will see the results. Whether it be in a month's time, a year's time, or even 5 years' time. Just don't be depleted in yourself or feel depleted. It will happen for you. So the biggest mistake number three is focusing on the wrong things. I see this happen so many times with so many entrepreneurs, and I've also been prey and victim to this as well. So in terms of when I say focusing on the wrong things, on the flip side of that, the right things are income producing activities, things that are actually going to be support you in making money in your business, because again, that's what business is all about. It's all about making money and attracting clients, the lifeblood of our businesses. So income generating activities are through the process of marketing and selling, showing up, being visible, actually having content to put out there, using that content, repurposing it. So if you're doing a static post, that can become a Facebook Live, that could become a blog, you can put that on YouTube. There's so many ways that you can start to push out content to reposition you as the authority or expert in your industry as well. So non-income producing activities will be things like the admin stuff. So doing spreadsheets and doing fancy mock-up drawings, etc. These are all good. You know, this all makes up part of the branding, but it's not actually what's going to get you the sales. So one of my mantras is do what you do best and outsource the rest. That will allow you to free up more time to be focused on things that are actually going to bring in the money. Things whereby you can actually focus on your zone of genius. This is where your expertise comes into play. Where it's things like admin stuff or even reaching out to people, following up with people, things that are quite really consume your time, quite exhaustive, you can probably outsource that to a virtual assistant, and you can get some really great virtual assistants online. Charlotte and I have loads of connections with virtual assistants, or you can maybe outsource that out as a freelancer job, maybe on Fiverr.com or other great platforms like that, such as People Per Hour, so that you're not focusing or you're not bogged down with doing all that tech stuff, all that admin stuff, but you can focus on what you do best. So that's the biggest mistake number 3. Biggest mistake number 4 is not building a database. Now, God forbid if the likes of Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn or Twitter, one of those giant social media platforms, goes or just shuts down tomorrow. Many entrepreneurs I've seen have been building 6, 7, 8-figure businesses online and haven't actually started growing a database or an email list, as I will call it. Now, your email list is golden, it's integral. Just in the very unlikely case, one of these big giant social media platforms actually shuts down. So that's why we encourage you to start growing your email list. Have a freebie that you could put out there so that people will exchange their name and email address for this freebie. It could be a 5 top tips e-guide, a PDF checklist, a video, masterclass. It could be anything that you feel is most suitable linked to the particular industry that you're in. Have that as your offer in order to entice them to exchange their name and email address so that you can keep them on your list and keep warming them up. That's so, so important. The biggest mistake number 5 is not using a sales funnel. Now, we are our business essentially. Most of us are building a business on our own, starting out. We haven't yet built a team. So we need to find ways to leverage our time in order to leverage our money. And the best way to do that is to build a simple sales funnel. And what a sales funnel essentially is the journey that you've mapped out, taking your client or your prospect from being a cold or unknown, a stranger, and taking them through a process where they actually say, yes, I want to buy from you. You have the right solution for me at this particular point in time. So your sales funnel should have something in place whereby you're warming them up, you're bringing them into your world, whether it be in a Facebook community that you've recently launched and opened, bring them on there, or it could be getting onto a call with yourself, taking them to your website, wherever it is that you feel should be the starting point for somebody that is unknown to you. And then from there, you're taking them on various steps on what we call the value ladder, so that they're increasing their knowledge about you and they're seeing more of you showing up as the expert authority in that particular industry or field. Biggest mistake number 6 is not identifying your market or customer properly. Now, if you are not really clear on who exactly you're serving or how you want to serve them or where they hang out, where to find them, etc., then you're going to be exhausting a lot of time on this, and it's going to waste lots of your time and lots of your money in doing so. So why not take time in the very beginning to get this right and actually set the tone for having that clarity of direction in your business? So start by looking at who exactly it is that you want to serve, and that will help you identify where exactly it is that they're hanging out. And you can also start to look at your competitors, because obviously they've nailed it. They're doing well. They're crushing it in your industry. So learn from them. Look at where they're hanging out. Is it on Facebook? Is it on Instagram, or both? Even LinkedIn or Twitter? How are they showing up in terms of their marketing message? Because at the end of the day, you need to position yourself so that your messaging actually speaks volumes for itself. Everything you put out there is speaking to the right people because you've got in their heads. You know them from the inside out. You know what's keeping them up at night. You know what's making them actually tick, what's making their blood boil, or what's keeping them calm. Get inside their heads, and that starts off with by actually defining and identifying who exactly they are. Biggest mistake number 6 is using social media incorrectly. So not using social media in the way that social media should be used for, which is all about nurturing and building relationships. So it's going in, being very spammy, very salesy, and that's actually very off-putting. The psychology I always say is, how do you like to be sold to? And a lot of people don't actually like to be sold to. They don't actually like to be told that this is it, this is the solution for you. And you need to be thinking about that when it comes to actually presenting yourself to your ideal customer or your ideal audience. Think about how you like to be sold to. Is it just through the compelling narrative that this person's saying? Learning about their experiences, what's actually made them get to the point as to where they are today. That's what's going to draw you into their world a lot closer. And that's exactly what you should be doing as well, okay? The psychology that works for you is more than likely going to work for your ideal client, ideal audience. Big mistake number 8 is all about engaging with customers, giving value. You should always be the giver. When you're presenting yourself online, you should be making sure that you're coming from the standpoint of giving rather than always receiving. This is how you start to build long-lasting relationships. This is how you start to leverage those relationships. And this is how you take the relationship to the next step of actually getting those people to commit to saying yes to being your customer as well. Biggest mistake number 9, so we're getting there, is the naysayers, the haters, the trolls. Now, you've probably heard all of those mantras and power statements that haters make me grow, bring on the haters. And that's actually a standpoint that I come from, that you should go for no's. When people say no to you, it may just be that it's not the right time in their life for them. Your product or service may be brilliant, but they're just not ready to hear that. People will only be ready to learn and listen when they're at that point in their life. But as long as you're showing up daily, consistently, being visible with your message, then sure enough, that person later down the line, when they are ready to hear your message, when it is the right time for them, they will actually come back to you and say, look, years ago, you were in this space, you approached me with this particular solution. It wasn't for me at that time, but now I'm ready. This is what happens to many of us entrepreneurs in the online space. It's happened to me and Charlotte numerous times. People that we approached 2-3 years ago had on a discovery call and it wasn't ready for them. They're now coming back to us and actually working with us as well. And those naysayers or haters that are being really responsive to your messages in a really negative or hateful way, just disregard it. Don't let it chip at yourself or what you're doing, because if you're really wanting to be successful, then you are going to attract naysayers or haters. And it's just because whatever you have said has triggered them in a way that they're not ready for. They might be dealing with some deep emotional issues that they're not ready to confront, and something in your message has made them want to lash out at you. Or maybe they're seeing that you're doing well, you're actually being consistent, you're putting yourself out there, and it's something that they've been afraid to do for many years. So don't let them put you off your journey. Keep on going, because the more naysayers or haters that you attract, you know that you're on the right path, because you know that you've triggered that person in a way that they're not quite ready to make that change within themselves. So that's why they're doing this. And the biggest mistake, number 10, is not using a mentor. Charlotte and I, when we said yes to our first mentor, the whole online business growing world unlocked for us. And that's when we really started to have that path of clarity. So that's why we always encourage people to get a mentor, get a coach, get somebody who's 2, 3, 4, 5 steps and beyond, steps further ahead of them. Somebody that can show them what their experiences were in the same industry and can take them through a journey. Mentors are there to really give you that constructive feedback, to reposition you so that you're on the right track to success as well, using their expertise, their influence as well. So connect with somebody that resonates, somebody that you know is actually going to have your back and take you on that journey, giving you clarity at every punctuated point of your growth as well. as you're moving the needle closer from where you are now to where you want to be. Now, we would love you to join our free Facebook community called the Female Entrepreneur Collective, whereby we have other like-minded CEOs like you who are all seeking to start and grow a successful online business. It's all about having that like-mindedness community, a community that can spur each other on. You're all on the same vibe, the same wavelengths, and you're all there looking to support each other in each individual person's growth and journey. So here is the link. It's bit.ly/the Female Entrepreneur Collective, and I cannot wait to see you in there.